All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So we all got the news yesterday that Denzel Mims officially requested a trade. Now, and I talked about it in the video that I posted yesterday. I don't necessarily blame Denzel because at the end of the day, he's still a young player, high upside. He still has a lot of likable traits with the size, with the box out ability. And even though I don't really see, and clearly this isn't going to be the case, but he's not going to fit with the New York Jets long term. That doesn't rule him out for every other team out there, okay? So in this one, I wanted to talk about 5 teams that I feel like would be an awesome fit for Denzel Mims. So the first team up is the Chicago Bears. And I think right now, when I'm looking at Chicago, it's kind of a transition period. Brand new coach, Matt Eberflus, a brand new staff coming in the building, trying to develop and establish a culture. And I like Matt Eberflus a lot. What he was able to do in Indianapolis with player development, everything like that. I love their defensive scheme. Guys are flying around the football field. Guys love playing for him. I like the hire. I know initially, we're looking at some of these offseason transactions, trading away Khalil Mack, Allen Robinson no longer with Chicago. There was that whole drama with Roquan Smith. Chicago's in a weird spot, okay? And it's just, there's a lot of unknowns. Justin Fields going into year 2. Much like Zach Wilson, much like Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Justin Fields needs some weapons too. And although I like guys like Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, who's Velus Jones, rookie from Tennessee, I'm excited to see what he'll do. I think Denzel Mims in Chicago makes so much sense because we look at Denzel, and again, he's still a young player with upside. He still has so much room to grow as a football player. We haven't seen the best of Denzel yet. He's not at his cap. With 2 years left on his rookie deal, he's not some former top 10 pick where he's owed millions and millions of dollars or anything like that. You're not roped into this mega deal, but at the same time, if we flip it, he's not on some expiring contract. I'm looking at Chicago. They just pulled off a trade for N'Keal Harry. I mean, he's out for the year already. So could they be in the market again to go out and snag a young wide receiver with a lot of potential? I think it makes all the sense in the world. I think really what it comes down to here, though, will the new culture, right, Eberflus and co., feel comfortable trading away another draft pick to go out and get another wide receiver, right? At the same, when we're looking at a new staff, new culture, new guys running the football team, typically they want to get their guys. And part of the, how do you get your guys as a staff? You draft players, you sign players. Okay, so do the Bears want to trade away another draft pick? I'm not so sure, but I think a perfect trade scenario here. Denzel Mims goes to Chicago. The New York Jets get a 2023 6th-round pick. Next up, team number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. It's not a huge secret that the Ravens need some help at the wide receiver position. I love Bateman. They have Duvernay there. They just picked up DeMarcus Robinson. Didn't, unfortunately, work out with the Raiders. But I'm looking at Baltimore right now. It's not an everyday offense, right? The other 31 teams in football aren't running a similar offense. They will be running the football a lot. Lamar Jackson will be taking a ton. I mean, the offense goes through Lamar. He'll be getting a ton of volume this season. The wide receivers, on the other hand, aren't really the focal point of the offense, right? They're kind of more of the complementary piece. And I think that's a nice low-pressure situation for Denzel to walk into, where it's like, hey, he has the potential, he has the talent to be wide receiver 2 for the Ravens. Like, I don't think that's insane to say. I really don't. So I think Baltimore right now, a win-now team, could add a solid wide receiver in exchange for a late round pick that could leapfrog essentially the entire roster outside of maybe 1 or 2 guys, but he can get some significant playing time this season. I look at Baltimore as a team that makes a lot of sense. Joe Douglas used to work for Baltimore, so he does know the organization. I think I really think a 6th or a 7th round pick would get the job done because the Ravens are a win now team, and because there is expected interest from multiple teams. You can maybe drive the price up a little bit, but again, I want to just play it safe here. 6th or 7th round pick from the Baltimore Ravens. Next up, team number 3, the Tennessee Titans. I'm looking at that wide receiver room. Treylon Burks, Robert Woods. Outside of those 2 guys, I don't really have a lot of confidence in the rest of the roster. I look at the type of offense that the Titans run. It's a run first, power in your face. Derrick Henry's just going to get so many carries, so many yards. Absolute beast at the running back position. But one of the benefits of being such a good, intimidating running team, you can throw off play action. That's where I feel like Denzel Mims shines, off of play action over the middle of the field. I know he doesn't have the best, he's not the quickest guy in the world. I know he's not the most You know, like, you're not going to be lining him up in the slot and he's going to be torching slot and nickel corners. You know, I get that completely. But if you put him on the outside and you have guys like Robert Woods and Treylon Burks to take some of the pressure off of Mims, I think really if you just ask him to make one-on-one plays on the boundary and hurt teams over the middle of the field in play action, I think he could have a ton of success with the Titans. I think for trade compensation, I would go with the 5th round pick, 5th or a 6th round pick for this upcoming draft for Tennessee. Yes, you know, they traded away AJ Brown. They have the extra draft capital. They drafted Treylon Burks, but right now both guys are listed as questionable. So you could get Mims in the building as a healthy option just to take a ton of reps right off the bat before the season starts. We still have, you know, quite a bit of time before that first regular season game. I think Denzel to the Titans makes sense. Next up, team number 4 here, the Atlanta Falcons. They have Drake London. They have Kyle Pitts, 2 dominant pass catchers. I love it. I'm totally excited for what the future holds with Atlanta moving forward. Maybe not necessarily this season as far as the win-loss record is concerned, but I definitely feel like Atlanta is a team that just needs bodies. They need talent at the wideout position. And Denzel, I mean, they just saw him practice, last week? You know, they have that hands-on experience with him. Again, he does bring likable traits to the table. He could be one of those guys that just leapfrogs the entire roster and is immediately playing in week 1 or week 2, right? Like right off the bat. So I think Atlanta makes a lot of sense, although I do think Atlanta is trying to build through the draft. So as far as trade compensation, I would say a 6th or a 7th round pick. And last but not least, the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, now Dallas is in an interesting position because that's a team that I think a lot of people are expecting to win that division, right? Them or the Eagles, we'll see what happens with Washington. But when I'm looking at the Cowboys roster, yes, CeeDee Lamb is there, an absolute beast, one of the best young receivers in the game for sure. But Michael Gallup is still recovering from the ACL. They did trade away Amari Cooper. You look at where Denzel Mims is from, you know, where he played in college, Waco, Baylor, you know, it's right there. I get that the need might not be as high for Dallas, but the Cowboys were actually listed as one of the teams that could have a high level of interest in acquiring Denzel. And, you know, I think when it's all said and done, even because the need isn't as high, Dallas wouldn't probably give up a middle round pick, right? A 5th rounder. I would say, if I had to guess, a 7th round pick or a futures pick. And, you know, with that comes the Joe Douglas magic. I mean, he was able to trade Chris Herndon for a 4th round pick. I mean, we saw the return for Sam Darnold. Like, Joe Douglas works his magic with the trades. It seems like he always gets better value when he parts ways with, you know, with his, with the former players here. So we'll see how it all plays out. But those are the 5 teams that I'm going to be watching: the Baltimore Ravens, Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons, Tennessee Titans, and of course the Dallas Cowboys. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. There were some other teams I thought about, maybe the Green Bay Packers, but I feel good about that roster, right? Romeo Doubs coming in from Nevada, Watson coming in, North Dakota State. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Lazard as well, Sammy Watkins. Like, I think they're going to, I think they're okay, but the other 5 teams have more pressing of a need. So anyway, let me know your thoughts, and as always, go Jets.